We are stoked that San Francisco-based yoga teacher Danni Pomplun is joining the Warrior Addict tribe. This guy teaches yoga classes, retreats, workshops, masterminds, trains other teachers, loves sports, including cycling, surfing, rock climbing, and snowboarding, and manages to find the time to volunteer with underprivileged young people. How does he fit it all in? Let's hear it from the guy himself, Danni. Welcome.
What's going on?
You're a busy boy.
Yeah. I like to say not busy but productive. Big difference.
Productive, yes, that's the operative word. So let's start with something. What about Yoga Misfits? Tell us about that.
It just kind of dawned on me one day. When I first started yoga, I had a really hard time fitting in.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't look the part. I feel like I didn't fit the mold. I feel like the way that I came into it was a little bit different. And as I started, kind of finding my own tribe and my community, someone was like, "Yeah, you're like the misfit of the yogis." And I was just like, "Wait, what did you just say? What did you just say?" And I just kind of took it and ran with it. And it's really been, it's kind of been like my saving grace. And it's really, the way I identify like my community, like everyone who feels like they don't feel like they're a part of something else, like it's cool. We got a place for you.
So who is a typical yoga misfit?
I think it's the rule breakers. It's the people that go against the grain. It's the people that don't follow the stream. It's the
That's
people
me. I'm
that don't feel like they have no place to belong.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm definitely a yoga misfit then.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say. So tell us what we could expect in a typical yoga class with you.
I had lots of terrible jokes. That's a great place to start. My classes are a blend of like me and my passion for anatomy and being a super big nerd.
Right.
And then also this belief that I, really like your inner wisdom is just there. And my job as a teacher is to remind you that it's there. So there's a little bit of chanting. I try to weave in as much philosophy as I can because
Nice.
I do believe it's an important part of the practice.
Yeah.
And then I completely just nerd out on biomechanics. I break all the asana rules and really look at the human body
Oh,
as movement rather than just very linear things.
we're losing you a little bit there. The connection's not great. Can you just repeat the last bit you just said?
Yeah, sure. So it's a little blend of, adding the philosophy elements in it because I think it's an important part of the practice. And then I kind of start to break the rules when it comes to movement. I see the body as more than just like linear, one way to look at it. We have to look at how we've evolved and, playing around in different shapes rather than just the traditional stuff, which is great to know as well. I started there and then now I like to play with a little bit more.
And tell us, you use music in your classes?
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. The more music, the better. I try to get as much live music actually in class as possible.
Oh, really? Me too. That's my thing. Wow.
Yeah.
So what instruments do you incorporate?
So I bring in a harmonium and then I have a drum and then I have a guy who comes in and plays the sitar. He plays the Japanese drum. I have a guitarist. I have a harp player. I have had a pianist in class before. I do a house. Yeah, pianist was really cool. I do a deep house flow where I have a DJ come in and we do a big sound bath at the end. Music is a big part of my life, and it's really something that's like it's like my soundtrack to everything. And so I feel like that pulse and that energy really translate into movement as well.
Absolutely. And do you you play yourself an instrument? I think the harmonium is that what?
Yeah, I play the harmonium and then I play a djembe drum as well.
Right. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And what's this pirates yoga?
Oh, pirates yoga. So if I'm often asked like what kind of yoga I teach, and everyone's like, you teach vinyasa, or you teach Iyengar, or you teach Ashtanga, and I like to say that I teach pirates yoga, and it's basically I just take all the things that I like and then leave all the stuff that I don't.
Oh, right. Okay. I like that. Now, you mentioned that yoga was your refuge through a hard time in your life. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I was 25 and I had lost a partner in life and I didn't know really how to deal with it. And so my drinking and drug addiction took the best of me and I had a failed suicide attempt and, when I was really broken and really at my lowest, I didn't really feel like I had any place else to go. And a yoga community opened their arms and welcomed me in. And I had never really been involved before like that. And they just came in and nurtured me and took care of me and continue to push me down this path. Like teachers, where we pull things out of people that they don't yet see sometimes, or remind them. And they were able to do that for me.
How did you first make the connection with that community?
I had practiced beforehand. Like I said I was like a yoga tourist, where I had taken like a couple classes here and there at a gym. And then my roommate at the time, she saw me broken and was like, you need something. You got to do something for yourself. And she was like, there's a studio that opened up down the street. You can, go check it out. And I went and checked it out. I couldn't really afford it, so I started scrubbing toilets to get yoga. And then I slowly moved my way up. I became in charge of the toilet scrubbers, and then they moved me up to front desk. And then, lo and behold, not too long later, they offered me a scholarship to a teacher training program, and they really just pushed me down the path. And I'm so glad that they did.
That's wonderful. And now you give your time generously to underprivileged youth. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm a part of the One Love movement. It's based in San Diego with a good friend of mine, Kim, and I recently brought it up to San Francisco. And basically, it's the way I see it is we have this platform called yoga, and part of the teachings of yoga is seva, which is the yoga of helping others. And I really do believe that as a community, we rise when we really help others rise up. And I know that when I was younger, if I had tools like yoga and meditation and mindfulness, life would have gone a little bit different. I'm glad that it did go the way that it did. But I believe in helping those people out, because I know where I was as a young kid, and I know where drugs and alcohol really took over. And I feel like we have an opportunity to really, like, let's face it, like, our youth is really what's going to shape the world. Yeah. We're kind of just phasing, our way out of it. And if we can help them grow and continue to support themselves and give them an opportunity that they could change, I mean, why not do it?
And tell us, how is yoga going to change the world?
I mean, how is not going to change the world? I think if we can, I like to remind people, if you think you're coming to my class for a workout, great. But at the end of the day, I'm more than happy to give you 60 million crunches or chaturangas or whatever it is that you need, so that you can get tired and then listen to me tell you how awesome you are, and how you really do have that inner wisdom and that inner strength, and everything that you're looking for is within you. And I think it's those subtle reminders. Yoga really just teaches us how to be better people.
What advice do you have for someone who is feeling apprehensive about taking their first yoga class?
Oh my God, just do it. That's just do it. There's so many yoga classes and there's so many yoga teachers, and you're probably going to go to a few that you don't like, and you're probably going to go to some that you love, but just go and explore it, because it's so vast and it's never ending, and there is something for everybody. Yeah,
totally. And what's next on your agenda?
I think the biggest next thing that I have is I recently launched a 500-hour teacher training program here in San Francisco. Wow. And I'm co-facilitating it with one of my teachers who's a senior teacher, and it's just kind of like, it's like dreams were like, what's happening? That's probably the biggest thing on my plate right now, is running my own 500-hour with my teacher side by side. So I'm kind of like,
Wow, that's a big task.
No pressure.
Well, before you leave us, Guy, would you mind giving us some words of wisdom for us to take away with us?
Trust that you are enough. Know that you have everything that you need, and believe that you are on this path for a reason. And remember that. Absolutely,
we also are. Thank you so much, Danni. And how can we find you on social media, website, all that sort of stuff?
Everything is just Danni Pomplun. No Danni Pomplun, just Danni Pomplun. Right. Danni Pomplun. That's at Instagram, Facebook, and then DanniPomplun.com.
All right. We'll follow you and keep an eye on what you're doing. And really lovely to chat with you today. Thank you very much, Danni.